Hello and welcome back to the credits part of Shadow of Mordor, and in this part we'll have credits. Long credits.
We've reached the end of the carrot. Yes.
Now, in total, Shadow of Mordor is actually a really, really awesome action RPG. I find that the story right at the tail end turns into, well, just slightly better than garbage, but before then it was actually really engrossing and very entertaining.
Yeah, I would agree that the story was very well built up, but what it built up into was not consistent with what we've been led to believe this whole time.
Well, honestly, the believability works out just fine. It's just that I don't like where Talion ended up. Talion ends on being a power-hungry warlord who is, cursed with zombieism and thinks that he is an unholy plague, despite the fact that everyone that he has ever helped has looked on him as a normal person. Hell, even Ratbag actually found him as a normal person.
Back to the future to be concluded.
Probably not, honestly, since Shadow of War still... I want to get Shadow of War, I do, but I have concerns about my machine being able to run it, and I have concerns that I might not like it as much because the ending cutscenes require a shit ton more grinding than the ending cutscenes for Shadow of Mordor do.
But does Shadow of War actually follow up on where this game leaves off?
Yes. Talion decides, instead of actually building a new ring, he's going to do exactly what he did in Shadow of Mordor, take over the Uruk tribes in the new regions of Mordor that he explores, and attempt to become the actual Lord of Mordor.
Oh. So, oh my god. So he is a Jack Ryan. Because that's one of the endings. That's one of the endings in BioShock. You take out Andrew Ryan and then you decide either to rule Rapture and the rest of the world or just make peace with everybody.
I confused Jack Ryan with Handsome Jack, I'm sorry. But
Handsome Jack.
But
we'll get to Handsome Jack.
We will?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I got Borderlands too.
Cool.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think that Shadow of Mordor is definitely a game that's still worth picking up, especially because I'm not really the biggest fan of how open and confusing the first Assassin's Creed game is. So I don't really like Assassin's Creed 1, and I actively dislike Batman Arkham City, but I find the fusion of the two game genres here to be very, very enjoyable. Aside from the stealth missions, because fuck the stealth missions. The stealth missions borrow way too much from Assassin's Creed as opposed to Batman Arkham City.
This game is a shining example among my friends and people who I know who have played this game that polish is important.
Oh yes, polish is very important here.
Like as I've advanced in gaming years, I've realized how much more I've relied on polish in my games than ever before. That's why I'm loving the shit out of the Ratchet and Clank remastered, because it's dripping with polish. And this is the kind of game where, yes, there's a randomizer system which makes replay value like that much stronger, but also that there is so much content to go over that'll be fresh by the time you reach it that it will feel awesome like every time you play it.
Usually, yeah. I mean, there are a couple runs where, like every other captain or war chief that you have, gets either combat master or invulnerable to range, like happened in this run to a certain extent. Yeah. And then you have to work around those disadvantages by either having all of their forces turn traitor on them, or using explosives or mounted beasts. The thing is, much like Batman Batman Arkham games, you have so many different ways to approach combat scenarios that it really is a build your own adventure kind of system.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, build your own adventure. Nothing helps. You know what helps me build adventures is, like, for example, whenever you run into a captain or a war chief or some other significant character in battle, you actually have, like, an exchange that characterizes how the two feel about each other.
Yep.
usually I'm going to kill you.
And that's how you get level 20 war chiefs and captains. And then when you fail to kill them, and it's like, well, damn it, now he's even stronger. Now he's a level like 21 or 22 war chief and or captain. How the fuck do I kill him now?
I demand my vengeance.
Vengeancing!
Against that particular character over there, he's the one who killed me.
Production babies are called Spawn of Mordor.
But what is a production baby? Do you know?
Yes, production babies are children that were birthed during the course of producing a game.
Dante Pecoraro. Well, you picked a great year to be born.
You also picked a hilarious last name.
John Mayo. John Mayo, everybody.
A separated cousin of John Mayer.
Oh boy. So how many times have you played this game all the way through, Gerda?
All the way through, as in the story mode, or 100%?
Oh, just story mode.
Story mode 5+ times.
Nice.
I played it like 2 full times during the first year that I got it, and I've only actually 100% of the game like twice, mostly because again, fuck the stealth missions. But
Stealth.
But I do find that I'm willing to spend a full weekend to just go through Shadow of Mordor again, like every couple of months or so.
Yeah.
Not every couple of months, but like, you know, like once every 3-6 months, somewhere in there. I do find myself coming back to it every once in a while. It's why I'm interested to actually get Shadow of War when the money's right, and you know, the loot box system is officially gone, so maybe I can, you know, finally justify actually purchasing it. But in a couple of months, it'll actually be on my very special reserve list of things that I can do, which I shouldn't have because it's terrible for the industry, but the industry is a terrible thing, so fuck them.
Exactly. Make good use of the post-consumer market. It reveals the holes that they left behind and never bothered to fill. For example, if I need to be incentivized to play a game for reasons other than playing the game, there is a problem.
Well, sometimes the incentive is experiencing a great story, and for the first 2/3 of Shadow of Mordor, I think that's actually a reasonable incentive because the story for the first 2/3 of the game is really damn good. Just that, you know, it stumbles at the finish line. I have been over that.
Yeah, the ending will definitely put a sour. It doesn't put that whole ending cutscene. I don't like seeing my character be helpless. I don't like seeing my ultra powerful dude who I've been leveling up the whole time, got level 9 and 10 and all my weapons, suddenly being reduced to a dribbling little baby on the floor who can't do jack shit except crap himself.
Well, the story explanation for that is actually pretty sound, honestly. I mean, Celebrimbor is, you know, the reason why we're able to walk around as a zombie. So taking him away, you know, I don't understand why it reopens up our wounds, but supposedly it's Celebrimbor's life force that's driving us on, so, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that the narrative doesn't make sense. The narrative holds up just fine. It just begs the question, why?
I actually have problems with the narrative too. I don't buy that Talion wants to you know, make a new ring for the sake of dominating Mordor. It honestly doesn't feel like something that his character up to now would actually want. Especially since, you know, just as we're going into the fight with Sauron, he mentions, hey, once Sauron is gone, then I can die, and this can finally be fucking over.
The end? Question mark.
And instead he decides to, you know, and he decides to sequel bait instead, which I don't buy.
How about the likeness to Frodo's arc in the Return of the King?
Frodo didn't get corrupted until literally the very last fucking second.
But that's what happened here. Is that that Talion did not get corrupt until the very last second.
But here's the problem: Talion doesn't have anything to corrupt him at this second.
just has all this power.
He has all this power,
with
but he had all this power before, and he wasn't corrupted by it. Why is he now corrupted by this potential to have yet more power?
By money!
Actually, we don't actually see Talion exchange currency for services at all during this game.
I knew it. I thought John DiMaggio played the hammer. I thought I recognized that voice. I love John DiMaggio. He's one of my favorite voice actors. I'm happy to see he's still at it.
I think I recognize Kirk Thornton from somewhere, but I don't really know. He was probably in Mass Effect the side characters.
So all I'm saying, Gerdat, is that if you enjoy even an iota of Shadow of War, you can thank the shitty ending in this game.
Yes, but then, but honestly, we could have had Shadow of War take place without Talion or Celebrimbor. It could have been. It could have been a new vessel.
I know, but then that would be the Star Wars Episode 7 approach to remaking A New Hope, and nobody liked Star Wars Episode 6's. It is 7 because The Last Jedi was 8. Star Wars Episode 7 was supposed to be A New Hope. Everybody saw it and everybody hated it for its likeness.
Well,
that's why
I think the Shadow.
You can't build up. All I'm saying is you can't build up a character to be somebody else when you're clearly trying to make him resemble somebody.
I'm just saying the Shadow of War would actually have sold better if our main character was Legolas instead of Talion again.
What does happen to Legolas? He never dies, does he?
Yeah, Legolas doesn't actually die, but he's not technically here yet.
So he should have like hero protection.
Unless of course you want to take into the new Hobbit trilogy into account, then Legolas certainly exists, but he's out playing with Aragorn. But then again, that's assuming that the movie timeline is actually in continuity with Shadow of Mordor and or Shadow of War, which it honestly probably isn't.
Yes, everybody, this has been Shadow of Mordor, a tremendous game in its own right, and thank you very much for joining us.
I still really enjoy this game.